Hello everyone, today we will be analysing a level 4 answer for the Thomas attempts question that we planned an answer to in the previous video. If you haven't already answered the question yourselves, then here's the scenario and plan. So pause the video and attempt to write an answer. Otherwise, let's dive right in and see what makes a level 4 answer. So here's the answer I wrote myself. I've organised each paragraph to contain AO1 and then AO2. To prove Thomas's guilt of an attempted offence, the prosecution must prove that he satisfies both the elements of an attempted offence beyond reasonable doubt. That's a brief introduction, and then we go into Richard. The Criminal Attempts Act states if with intent to commit an offence a person does an act more than merely preparatory to the commission of the offence, he is guilty of an attempted offence. That would be your AO1. The actus reus is an act more than merely preparatory to the offence, and the mens rea is intent to commit that offence. That would be another mark. The case Galeffa explains more than merely preparatory by asking, has the defendant embarked on the crime proper, and if so, then his acts are more than merely preparatory. In the scenario, Thomas decides to take Richard's surfboard, therefore he has the intention to deprive Richard of his property, which satisfies the mens rea of theft. So we have another AO1 here, defining an act. And then we have AO2, so we apply what we have defined, what we have described. This would be your AO2. However, he leaves the surfboard where it is as he saw the dog. Therefore, he didn't satisfy the actus reus as his acts weren't more than merely preparatory, as he didn't embark on the crime proper. That would be another mark, AO2 mark. It could be argued that he did embark on the crime proper as he was approaching the board and only left it as soon as he realised the dog was there, and therefore it wouldn't be enough to amount to an offence. And that could be worth another AO2 mark. Now we move on to Mr. Smith. The case Geddes also defines more than merely preparatory, as it states equipping yourself and putting yourself in the position isn't enough for an attempt. That's your first mark. Furthermore, AG's reference explains that the defendant needn't have performed the last act before the crime proper, nor reached the point of no return. Another mark. Thomas picks up a large rock and throws it at Mr. Smith. Therefore, his actions satisfy the actus reus of an attempt, as he moved from planning and putting himself in the position to implementation of the crime, and so has embarked on the crime proper by throwing the rock. Satisfy the actus reus of an attempt as he moved from planning to implementation. Thomas also has the necessary mens rea, as he has the intent to desire to bring about a consequence. There's an AO1 mark talking about Mohan. And if AG's reference is applied, it is obvious that the defendant has gone beyond merely preparatory, as he throws the rock and has done the last act before the crime proper. Therefore, Thomas would be guilty of attempted battery. Defendant has gone beyond merely preparatory, as he throws the rock and has done the last act before the crime proper. And if you look carefully, there's also an AO2 inside this AO1, as the necessary mens rea, as he has the intent. And then we move on to Jill. Section 1, subsection 2 of the Criminal Attempts Act, impossibility, states that if the facts of the case were as the defendants believed, he would be committing a crime. This is known as factual or physical impossibility. That's all one mark. In the case Shivpuri, another mark. Thomas believes, there we've moved on to the scenario, so we're applying what we've described, the AO1, onto the scenario. Thomas believes Jill has a purse in her handbag and he decides to steal the purse. But because it wasn't there, it was factually impossible for him to steal, but he would still be guilty of an attempted theft. Furthermore, in the case Esom, it was decided that a direct intent, a true desire to bring about a consequence, was needed to commit the full offence, theft. So that would be AO1. and that conditional intent wasn't sufficient. However, in AG's reference, number 1 and 2, they state that conditional intent is sufficient for attempted theft. That'd be another AO1. Therefore, gone on to Thomas, so that's applying what we've described onto the scenario. Whether Thomas had direct or conditional intent, he will satisfy the mens rea. However, it can be concluded that he had direct intent, as he had a true desire to steal her purse. But unfortunately, it was impossible for him to steal, and therefore he satisfies the mens rea of the offence. Okay, that'd be your AO2. In the case Boyle and Boyle, that'd be your AO1. And then we apply the case Boyle and Boyle. So, when the defendants broke down the door, their acts were beyond more than merely preparatory, and Thomas's act may be more than merely preparatory, as he actually puts his hand in the bag to steal. But it is definite his act was nothing less than mere preparation. Therefore, he also satisfies both the actus reus and mens rea, and would be guilty of an attempted theft. And then's the conclusion. In conclusion, Thomas is guilty of attempted theft and attempted battery. In regard to the attempted theft, although it was factually impossible for him to steal Jill's purse, he still had the necessary mens rea and actus reus to be charged with attempted theft. That's AO2. As for the attempted battery, Thomas had the intent and took an act that was beyond merely preparation when he threw the rock at Mr. Smith. That'd be another mark. Therefore, it can be concluded that Thomas has satisfied the elements of an attempt under the Criminal Attempts Act, and would be liable for both attempted theft and attempted battery, and that would probably be worth another mark. So now if we count the marks, so let's count how many marks I've got for AO1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You could probably question Easom's relevance, but I definitely have 8 out of 8 for AO1. And for AO2, let's see if I get 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Missed that bit there. Now, for AO2, what they also check is the overall structure of your answer. So if your answer isn't clear or your arguments aren't fully developed, then you'll most definitely lose out on marks. But if it's well organized and your arguments are put clear and straightforward, then they'll see that your answer belongs in the level 4 band. So what I advise is you keep writing answers to 20 markers until you get a perfect 20 marker. So always, whenever you write an answer, get your teacher to mark it. When they give you 20 out of 20 for an answer, then you'll have a perfect model answer for all your 20 markers, and you'll know what structure to follow and what the examiner wants. So hopefully this video was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.